A lot of changes are coming with the Edge of Fate, one of the main ones being a complete revamp of weapons, with them now going up to tier 5, enhancing all available perk options. But is there anything new and interesting within these perks? Well, absolutely. Huge thank you to community members such as Spider Reviver, the creator of this incredibly helpful spreadsheet, alongside all creators who attended the playtest, showing off some of these options, and anyone else gathering information from various Bungie streams. Coming up is all the new perks and origin traits which could be of interest. But before that, what do I think you should be looking out for? Ideally anything which improves either solar or status weapons, as there will be a lot of mod support for these. Also anything which affects stats, especially without a fully customised tier 5 armour set, getting to those higher 200 stat values will be very difficult. Weapon perks could be an assist in getting there earlier. In fact, let's start off with one which already fits this criteria, Burning Ambition. Jolting feedback is a popular option, and this seems to be a Scorch variant of that. The description reads dealing sustained damage scorches the target. Damaging Scorch targets inflicts further Scorch. This looks to be a great addition to any solar build, and being an on-hit effect will only increase in potency as content gets more difficult. It also seems like past the initial Scorch activation, which can be done by this weapon or other solar sources, further Scorch stacks will be built quicker, which can then lead to ignitions. The known weapons which can roll this perk include the Agape, a solar 2-burst hand cannon, Stars and Shadow, a reprised solar high impact pulse rifle, Return Memory, a solar rocket sidearm. Pay attention to this one if you do get any drops of this. I think this one is a contender for a meta weapon choice. And Unwavering Duty, a reprised solar adaptive machine gun, the one from Trials. For this perk and the other ones coming up, Destiny Data Compendium lists its known effects, including its activation criteria. This will often be incomplete, but a good general idea can be drawn from it. For example here, pulse rifles will take 18 shots to activate or 6 bursts. Grenade launchers takes 3 hits or down to 2 when enhanced, and other weapon types are not yet known, but from what it seems it's like a roughly 50% of a mag as hits for that initial Scorch. Next is Built to Blast. Just from first impressions, this one seems to be a PvP orientated perk. The criteria is having either Woven Mail, Frost Armour or Void Overshield. And while active, you will receive increased aim assist, flinch resistance and stability. Could for sure see this being used to avoid Titan Bastion Barricade to hunker down an objective with the refreshing Void Overshield. It could also be used with Cytarachne, which provides Woven Mail each time a grenade ability is used. Not sure how much this will be used compared to other options like Lone Wolf, which provides similar benefits passively, but it all just depends on the values which are not known yet. The weapons which can roll with this perk include Last Thursday, a strand adaptive pulse rifle, Mercury A, a kinetic high impact longbow, Ulterior Observation, a stasis aggressive frame LMG, and Solemn Remembrance, a stasis precision frame hand cannon. Since Solemn Remembrance is the comp weapon, it's safe to assume this one will be custom tuned for PvP. If this perk ends up being useful, then this one would probably be the go-to. Binary Orbit is nice and simple. It's paracausal affinity but in reverse. So weapons which are either arc, solar or void will need strand, stasis or kinetic final blows for a damage boost, and vice versa. Unlike paracausal affinity however, this means that the weapon itself cannot activate the perk and relies on outside sources. Because of this, the damage boost is slightly higher. Instead of 20% while active, weapons will receive a 25% outgoing damage buff. Remember, this does have to be final blows too, not just alternative element hits, making it maybe a little bit awkward to maintain. However, maybe if you had a build which uses abilities a lot, such as Arc Warlock, and then you had a darkness element weapon with this trait, it could be quite effective. It can be refreshed while active, bumping the timer back up to 5 seconds. The known weapons which can roll this perk include quite a lot. So, quickly, Last Thursday Pulse Rifle, the Quadnillus 2, Phonitria, Vera, whatever this thing, a solar spread hand cannon, Precipice, a void precision shotgun, Theodolite, an arc micro missile grenade launcher, and these ones here, just look on screen, I'm just going to take forever. And these are just the known weapons, there could be even more. Looks like this perk is going to be quite common going forwards. Impromptu ammunition is very interesting. This is a direct ammo economy perk, even more so than options such as lead from gold. Weapons with this perk increase special and heavy ammo drop progress for a short duration upon final blow, and once active it doesn't even need to be kills with the weapon itself. Any final blow sources will grant improved ammo progress. Not too much is currently known on this perk, but it does seem very promising. For sure a utility pick you would look for if using a weapon dominant loadout. Even more so if using double special. This could also be used between DPS phases in a raid type setting, so you are able to max out heavy ammo going into a next damage cycle quicker than usual. While not as universally useful as other perk options, this one really shines in certain scenarios, maybe even being a must pick in some of those. And the weapons which roll this perk include the Giver's Blessing, a kinetic auto, Sublimation, an arc high impact scout, Stars and Shadow, a solar high impact pulse, and most importantly Return Memory, that solar rocket sidearm. This is currently the only known option for double special setups. And there's also the compound cannon. Proximity power is one of those perks I would look out for because of its ability to improve player stats. This one bumps up melee with final blows, which of course will be extremely beneficial to melee builds, but only procs as long as you are surrounded by enemies. Assumably a similar requirement to things like Sympaceps. It appears that the first stack is plus 15 melee stat, and if this follows trend, a maximum of plus 45 melee can be obtained, more when enhanced. It's also possible that the higher stacks may be given increased benefit, which I kind of hope they do, as multiple weapon kills while surrounded is a bit of a specific ask, and maybe should give a better benefit. It's also important to consider. If your build already has 200 melee stat, this perk does nothing. If it has 150 or above, this perk will not reach its full potential, so there is some build crafting which comes into this. Melee stat going up to 100 will improve melee regen rate, while stats between 101 to 200 will increase melee damage. And in the interest of time going forwards, what I'm just going to do is list all weapons on screen which can roll a given perk. In the case of proximity power it is these following ones. Of note here is that new archetype of hand cannon with a quite awkward name. This thing is kind of like a primary ammo shotgun. It can roll proximity power in column 3 with 1-2 punch in column 4 for a great melee based combination. Blast distributor is the same vibe but grenades. Stacking up to 3 times with the first stack giving plus 15 grenade stat. However, activation criteria is different. In fact, a hell of a lot easier. This time a stack is gained upon dealing explosive damage. And the weapons it can roll on make it easy. And here's the list of those. So far just a mountaintop style grenade launcher and a rocket sidearm. The question here is what will happen if you tag multiple enemies of explosive damage at the same time. If hitting 3 enemies instantly gets you max stacks, this is so much easier to activate than the melee equivalent, and really does seem using if on a grenade focused build. Remember again this is a stat bump, so if your grenade stat is already maxed out there's no point using this, and like melee 1 to 100 grenade stat reduces its cooldown, while 101 to 200 just makes grenades deal more damage. The damage perk Reaper's Tithe is very interesting. It is another explosive based one, but with activation criteria which could be a little bit tricky. This requires exclusively multi-kills with a single shot of explosive weapons, and the current only known weapon to roll with it is the Theodolite grenade launcher. Being a micro missile frame, the blast radius on this one is not exactly huge, but no doubt this perk will be also found on heavy rockets or gel options too. The damage increase on this is not currently known, but hopefully due to its activation criteria will be quite notable. Another important feature is the higher the multi-kill, the more stacks of this perk will be gained, and this damage bonus will be stored until you fire the next shot, which means potentially you could build up stacks against red bar enemies, then fire high damage shots into major or boss tier targets. It all seems a little bit niche and complicated from the information given, but it is all a numbers game with this one. If the damage benefit is high enough and rolls on some already potent gel or rocket options, this could be an endgame viable perk for burst DPS. Transcendent Moment I think is pretty weird. I assume this is a PvP orientated perk as it is a stat bump in various areas, but which ones get boosted vary quite a lot. It is kill activated, but can be from final blows with any of your weapons, not just the one with this perk. If weapon is arc, solar or void, it gains stability and handling. If it is stasis or strand, it gains range and aim assist. Even with moderate to high stat bumps, I'm not too sure about on-kill effects for this to be worthwhile. However, while you are Transcendent, both sides of this buff remain active throughout, which is actually really good, but mainly in PvE where you can spam Transcendence and extend its uptime. However, in PvE, these stats aren't really something you're looking to build into. In PvP, where this is probably better, Transcendence just doesn't happen all that much. Maybe there's a way to build into it that I'm just more unaware of. Here's the weapons Transcendent moment can roll on. The final known new perk is a super interesting one. I actually really like this. Exclusive to swords is Sharp Harvest. Upon dealing 3 successive light attacks, special ammo is instantly generated. Using your heavy to bump up your special ammo economy is something not really seen this far. Well, I guess outside of when double special was bugged, but that really wasn't intended. The activation is super easy, just 3 light attacks. With overall sword capacity usually ranging between 60 to 70 swings, this is not a big ask at all, and with special ammo weapons becoming boss DPS options too, this gets even better. Lord of Wolves, Choir of One or even Still Hunt could get quite a lot of mileage out of this. Currently there is only one sword with this perk confirmed, the Stasis Waveframe Aurora Dawn. And on this weapon is a column 3 choice, so it could be paired with something such as Cold Steel or Whirlwind Blade. Could for sure see this being very useful and potent, but kept in check by the fact that swords are just not exactly a meta option. That being said, the better special ammo weapons become, the better this becomes. There's also origin traits for these new weapons. Going to go through this a little quicker, but here they are. Vanguard Determination. After using your class ability, follow-up final blows grant damage resistance. Unknown amount in duration for now, but damage resist is always appreciated. Unsurprisingly rolls on Vanguard weapons. Problem Solver. Dealing sustained damage to champions, mini-bosses or bosses exhaust them, as well as improving handling and reload. This seems like it might be kind of a Nightfall strike kind of trait. Exhaustive Research. ADSing for a short period loads a micro-homing rocket. This is fired off before the regular shots of the weapon. This is found on the Kepler weapon set. Fleet-footed. Sustained damage grants movement speed and AE, with final blows improving this effect. This origin trait is the Trials exclusive one. Roar of Battle. Being in combat for a short duration grants handling and stability, assumed like Frenzy, but for stats. This is available on all Crucible related weapons. Tenacity. Final blows while surrounded improves weapon damage, reload speed and handling, stacking up to 20 times. This seems kind of ridiculously strong even if a boost is something just as low as 1% per final blow. Not sure which weapon set has this origin trait, I guess maybe the raid ones? And that's all we have for now. I'm sure there's even more to be discovered, but these are just some things to look out for when Edge of Fate drops on the 15th of July. Thank you for watching.